Hello, everyone. Before we get started, we have to pay the bills real quick. So, I would like to tell you about Anchor. Anchor is your free all in one podcast application. With Anchor, you have creation tools built in to record and edit your episodes straight from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, and many other platforms. It even lets you monetize your podcast with no minimum listenership. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now. We use it, and so can you. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
So welcome to Going 19, episode 31. We're reading Anne Rice's The Witching Hour, going from part 3, Come Into My Parlor, chapter 33, to the end of the book. I'm Allie. With me are Amber and Ed, and let's get this show started.
Yay!
Yay.
Okay, so thoughts?
Big ugh.
Yeah.
I will say, it does remind me of Stephen King, where you have this long journey, and then you just feel completely, at least me personally, I feel completely disappointed by the endings.
Disappointed, unsatisfied. I was literally yelling at the book by the end of it. Like, I just...
I almost didn't even want to finish Michael's last monologue or whatever that was, because I'm like, this is bullshit. Shut up. No, that's not acceptable.
The epilogue, yeah, it was essentially like a sermon.
Yeah.
Now you know why I don't like that guy. But you know what? I almost feel bad for him on this read through, because Rowan is so much worse than he is. My God, she's an awful person.
I don't like either of them. They're both awful.
I definitely have always had a soft spot for Michael, and this part, like reading the end and realizing, like I knew it wasn't going to be a happy ending, but realizing that they were like done, I kind of like felt a heartache for him. I was like, oh man, like this sucks. I was like, I don't want to read this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know that they are done. I can't figure her. Is she? Because at one point she was like faking it, like to try to like lure Lasher in to kill him, I think.
She says that, but I don't even know.
Or some shit. That part was kind of weird. I didn't quite get that, but
yeah.
Yeah, is that what she was really doing? Is she still trying to do that? But then she started talking about experiments and blood. Like, first thing she said was, "I need a blood sample." So,
right.
Yeah.
I don't think she's being altruistic, or I hate her.
Yes.
Yep.
From day one, I was like, oh yeah, Rowan, this isn't going to end well. I mean, it's still one of my favorite books, and she, there's 2 more books, and she resisted. I'd have to look at the dates. Hold on. This came out in 90, and I got Lasher up here. Hold on. Which is the name of book 2. So we know what that's about.
Yeah.
You could have basically called book 1 Lasher too.
I know, right?
The planning phase.
You should have called it The Witching Hour Part 2 or something.
Yeah.
93. Oh, she didn't resist as long as I thought.
Also, what is the witching hour? I didn't understand the significance of that. Like, it seemed like that was just thrown in there. And I was like, this is it. It's the witching hour. It's the time. Like,
I think that was just a cute title for the book, honestly.
But, like, why was that not mentioned? Like
when he said... Yeah.
There is, like... I've always heard of, like, the witching hour in common vernacular as, like, the hours between midnight and 3 in the morning. Like, my mom calls it that when she wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like, oh, it's the witching hour, I can't sleep. Like,
I thought that, well, what is it?
So I didn't realize that it was supposed to be, like, a day. Like, he almost made it sound like the winter solstice or something.
Right. Yeah, like Christmas. Yeah, first of all, that's not when Christ was born. So what is that? Like, did she not know that?
Apparently not.
Well, nobody knows when he was born, so they just knew it was a cold winter day.
Well, no, it was like spring or something like that. Like, it was like 5 months earlier. It was not when.
Yeah, and it wasn't it this Wasn't like the weird shit happening at like 3 a.m. for some reason? Maybe I was
Well,
watching
that was when Deirdre died, so that was when he appeared to her the first time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that is related to the witching hour or not, but he made it seem like it was like the stroke of midnight on Christmas Eve, like when Santa Claus is coming.
Santa Claus be coming on the roof and I be coming out of you.
And then it changed from like midnight to 3 a.m. or 3 a.m. to midnight, just kind of randomly.
That's why I said I mean, I get that it's not that important, but I was like, you could have at least had like a paragraph about like, oh, it's going to be the witching hour because of this reason. Like,
yeah.
I don't think that's that important, honestly.
No, it's not.
I think she probably just like, that was a thing. Oh no, the witching hour. So she probably just used the cliche and then tried to retrofit a part of it back into the book.
Yeah. Also, I know this is like getting really into it, but do you think that the witches are all, well, actually I have two questions about this. One, it seemed like the entire family was like ghosts, like waiting to become immortal. And I'm like, I thought there were only 13 of them. How did they have like, what? Oh my God, the other starts with an L. I can't remember.
It was all the witches. It wasn't anybody else, was it?
No, there were two men there other than
Lestan and
starts with an L.
Maurice or something.
Yeah.
And I'm
they
like,
were
what?
Mary Beth's kids, is that right?
Like, is this a pact for, did he, I guess, so there's so many questions because I'm like, is this for more than the 13 or did Lasher just lie to all of them? And then my second question was, did they actually just disappear or did they become immortal? And that's why they're not at the house anymore and they're out living their lives.
Well, and there's also, because Michael was questioning if that was even a real thing or if that was a projection that Lasher put into his mind to make him think like, oh, this is what you were meant to do all along and there was no other reason and you played your role perfectly and now you're going to be in hell.
Yeah. Which I get why he would think that and I get why he would want to tell himself that, but we know that Michael has a like tendency to just kind of be naive and live that way.
I also think that he's not as naive as Rowan kept telling us he was.
No.
Which screw her for thinking that she was the smartest person in the world and only she can beat Lasher and severely underestimating him.
She's now the 13th person in a row to do that?
Yeah.
Every one of them thinks that they're better than the ones before. And it, like, I have stuff highlighted before her conversation with Lasher, but to me, that's kind of the important part in this 200 pages. Like, her conversation with Lasher showed you how manipulative he is and how he like lies at every turn. Like, if you notice, there's maybe 2 questions that he actually answered, and they were also self-serving in the answer. But she kept asking him shit, and he kept deflecting and not answering and saying something else, and she just never followed up. Said, "Wait a minute, you're not answering my question." I think.
Well, she kind of like took everything he was saying, like that he couldn't lie to her. It's like, oh, you have to tell me the truth. So these are honest answers. It's like, stop it.
Says who?
Yeah, she might not be able to lie to him, but he's been lying for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then he's like, I won't hurt Michael if you don't want me to. And then he's like, well, if you don't want me to hurt him, you better keep him away because I'm gonna fuck him up. Now wait, which one is it?
Right.
So the well, I guess he's a guy now. The guy clearly has his own agenda, and to me, he's not serving the witches, man. They're serving him.
Well, he said it. Sure. He said he had been flesh once, and now he's flesh again. So the Talamasca was right. Like he.
Wait, he said I missed that.
Yeah.
So he was. Well, but I thought he's not human. If he was flesh, he was human at one point, right?
I have no idea. There's a lot of things in this world.
She like smoked a big fat joint in the last chapter. Just went off the deep end.
Oh my God. I do and there is like the point where she starts to scientifically analyze like how ghosts and demons would. It's a good effort.
Yeah, I feel like she must have talked to somebody there. All that doctor shit. She either has a friend or she did some serious research. Yeah, with the cells, I can mutate them. I can't transform them. This and that. Like, okay, so
Yeah,
is this gonna work or not?
There's a lot of.
And
that
why didn't
stuff.
she just fucking?
Go
When
ahead,
he
Sam.
was in the first, kicked the baby out of its own body and was like, help me, I can't do this without you. Why didn't she just walk the fuck away at that point? That's when she helped him, I was so mad because of all the shit she said before that was true. What she was telling Michael, she was like, just trust me, this is good, I'm gonna get, like, that's all crap. Because
Well,
that
I think you're right, and I think she saw once it was successful, I guess, although I don't know how you could possibly know that by the way he looked at that point. She was like, oh my god, maybe this could work. Like, I think her selfish scientific brain was taking over if she even had any will left to fight him, which I really don't buy her, like, oh, I'm tricking him. It's like, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
no, I
If
think
he did have any intent to kill Lasher, that would have been the easiest time. Like, he is mutating this fetus into a grown man, but he needs her help in order to stabilize it. Instead of helping him, just kill him. Like, instead of fusing the body together, tear it apart.
yeah, like,
Which she had the ability to do. She just never practiced and never learned how to use it. So plus she was in love with him for whatever reason.
she falls in love with everybody really fast.
Yeah.
I think it's like maybe a month this book is, and she fell in love with 2 people.
Well, actually, she doesn't fall in love with people fast. She fell in love with the guy that Lasher cultivated for her, and then Lasher. So it's just Lasher.
And Michael.
Well, she said she fell in love with Michael too
Which is
after
the
meeting
guy
her one time.
The guy that Lasher cultivated for her. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I thought you meant non-corporeal form.
Yeah, that was all interesting. So basically, Lasher said it depends. Like, did he drown Michael? Because he always says, "Well, there was no need. He was already drowning. I just took advantage of the situation." Like, I'm not sure that I buy that necessarily.
He probably did something to cause him to slip. I mean, with everything that he did to Peter before he died, I wouldn't put it past him. Like, all he has to do is like blow wind or something.
That pissed me off. He said something about "I love Peter" or something. I'm like, no, the fuck you don't.
Yeah, no. I felt kind of protective. I was like, don't talk about him. Don't talk about him like
I
that.
know. Like, you better stay away from my Peter, like that shit. No, that didn't mean that the way it could have sounded.
It was fun to have the scenes where they were all like together and talking. Like, it was interesting, and like you kind of get you know a lot of their personalities by this point, so it's really cool.
They who?
The witches, like at the end when like Marguerite and all of them are talking, Mary Beth and Marie Claudette and Charlotte and Suzanne.
That was more confusing than anything.
Oh my god, when the whole family is talking to her and they're like, don't tell her, but tell her, but don't tell her, but tell her. I'm like, I know this is great for like storytelling, and this is so frustrating when you just want to know the answers. I'm like, freaking tell her now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Lasher conversation was long, man. It was like, how many more pages? And I'm like, oh my god, it just keeps going. And then they broke from that, went straight to her conversation with Aaron, and then it was Aaron and Michael. Like, the last 200 pages are just conversations.
Yeah.
Or maybe the last 100 pages.
Yeah, because the last 30 are like Lasher being born and the aftermath.
Yeah, and she's such a bitch to Aaron. Oh my god, I can't take it.
Oh, she's such a bitch to everyone.
Well, I think, one, again, Lasher is clearly like changing her consciousness at this point. But 2, if she is faking it, like, she, I guess, would be mean to him to try to like make it seem like she's on Lasser's side.
Yeah, I mean, wait, what?
So if she could be, it could be real, like Lasher's changing her consciousness, or it could be fake if she's trying to trick Lasher into thinking that she's on his side.
So either way, she's just being a bitch.
Right, yeah.
It's just whether it's real or fake.
Well, she can't trick Lasher, so I guess
Even though she thinks she can.
they all do for some fucking reason. Yeah, and then but I mean, obviously I knew how it ended, but like I'm reading it, and the whole run up to him coming finally, to her seeing him, he spent so much time saying, "Trust me, he's not going to do that to me, and I got this. I'm going to have to fight it alone. I'm going to this, and I'm going to that." And the second he showed up, all that went out the window. Didn't even try. It was like, oh, hey.
She was lying to Michael from the start, because when Michael first asked her, like, aren't you curious? Like, don't you want to talk to this thing? She's like, nope, not at all. Never. Who was that? New phone?
Yeah, and she didn't give him enough credit.
Yeah.
And she was interested. And it's like, why? If whatever, I don't know who sent Michael to her, but if it was sent to help intervene, then that is what he was there for, is to help you fight him. So you should have been honest with him from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said something about no secrets, didn't they? And the first thing she did was not tell him, because it would she was protecting him. I think was the rationale or some shit.
It made no
Because he was
sense.
too delicate. And he couldn't handle it. And he would get that faraway look that she hated that made him seem weak.
Yeah, God forbid.
Yeah, she underestimated him. Yeah, like the second you kept a secret, you threw everything out the window and you ruined everything.
Yep.
You should have told him, no matter what. Maybe you do have to fight it alone, but I mean,
why?
Doesn't mean you can't have support.
Yeah. Says who? Says Lasher?
Well, I mean, alone in the fact that it's her against him. It's
Yeah, but why does that mean that she can't tell anyone else about it? I don't understand.
It doesn't.
It doesn't at all. She that's what she rationalized, and that's how she got into this situation.
That's the first thing he says. He's like, "So where's your anger, beautiful one?" Or something.
Yeah, and
like,
she's
"We're
like,
gonna kill me."
Me?
And then he's like, "Well, I don't have matter, so you can't do anything to me." She's like, "Oh, okay." Well, wait. Why do you believe everything he says?
Yeah, and what? Okay, yeah, I'm realizing now I have so many questions. Like, what happened to her whole killing and giving life power? Like, how come that never seemed to really come into play anymore?
Yeah, I wish it did.
Well, that was.
But then we wouldn't have 2 more books.
She enabled. That was how Lasher was able to live or to stay in that body, because of her power to kill and save and all that. She changed it so it would live.
So she killed the baby and brought Lasher to life?
Yeah, I feel like it didn't fully explain that, because it was just like, oh, she can see all these things happening, but it doesn't say she's sustaining the life, she's helping him grow. So maybe I just didn't read closely enough to that. That's entirely possible, but
they don't really cover the part where it's like, hey, where's the baby?
Well, Michael definitely says, you killed our baby, you let him take
our baby. But I mean, they don't say what did it. Where is it? I think there's one point it said, does it have a soul or something? So that's my question. Where's the okay, well, the baby doesn't have a fully formed consciousness. So is there consciousness out there that's now going to become, what do they call it, a discarnate entity?
Is that what she's been hearing? Or is that...
Yeah, what? I don't, why did she keep hearing a baby crying? What did that mean?
My first theory was that it was somebody in the family trying to get her to leave the house, because she always heard it when she was at the house. So get her out of there, maybe, and not by herself. But I don't know. Then she said it was the same sound when was it Lasher that was making the sound? That was the baby she heard, or something like that.
No, that was coming from the dream, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but what the dream was about Lasher, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think, didn't he say she said something about he said something about a dream, and she said, "What did you dream?" And it was the exact dream that she had, but like nobody ever said, "Hey, wait a minute, we're having the same dream."
Yeah. Well, because once he was actually born and like a living thing on the floor in front of her, she was like, "This is my
Oh,
dream made flesh," essentially.
here it is. So page 1003 at the bottom. Sobbing, she sank down, dizzy, unable to command her arms or legs, the heat blasting her, and a great raw crying filled her ears. It was a baby's crying. It was that same awful sound she'd heard over and over in her dream, a baby's mewling cry. She struggled to cover her ears, unable to bear it, wailing for it to stop, and the heat suffocating her. So again, oh yeah, she couldn't shut out that little telepathic voice that rose and fell with the baby's sobs. So I feel like it's connected to Lasher somehow.
Maybe her, I don't know what you call it, telepathic power was projecting something. I'm not sure.
Right.
She didn't really. I don't get the crying baby. Like, what did that have to do with anything?
Maybe it was supposed to be a hint as of like how to bring Lasher into the world.
I think you're
That
right.
he had to become the baby, but I don't know that.
It was a baby knowing it was about to lose its body, and it was screaming to try to prevent it.
Yeah, that could all like the
Jesus.
baby saying, "Hey, don't give him my body, don't give him my consciousness."
Right? I just got this thing. Although she wasn't pregnant more than a month. There wasn't much baby in there to begin with.
True.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Was that part of Rowan's power to speed up the life growth?
Well, yeah, because she did that. Like, the baby went from a baby to a grown man. It didn't come out a grown man. I guess it came out normal size. I'm not sure about that, but within a matter of minutes, it was a fully formed man, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I think the proportions were still kind of off, but which I don't know if you guys watch anime or anything, but Attack on Titan, the Titans in there was how I was picturing Lasher, which is so creepy. They're like disproportionate humans and
yeah, I've seen
looking.
them.
I guess that's not like Teen Titans, huh?
No.
Yeah, I don't know that. What was the deal with Arthur Langtry scene? Was that him?
What was that scene again?
He almost drowned in the pool again because that's what he does, and then he came up and there was like a 1920s party at the pool.
Well, it's the same thing. Like, he saw Stella on their wedding day. Like, I don't understand if these things are trying to help, like, warn him or push him. Like, I don't know who to believe.
Yeah.
Well, based on their conversations with her while they were having like ghost dialogues,
And everybody's
they're
drinking.
self-serving. They're all trying to come back through and be human again. So whatever.
But it seems like they're all saying like, "Hey, don't do this. Don't let him become a person," to both Rowan and Michael.
But they want to become a person. So
Which conversation are you talking about?
yeah, all the dead people, like, he was the first one to go through. Now they all get to go through. That's
Yeah,
how
you're
the
talking about. You're not talking about where they were talking to the whole family. You're talking about the dead people, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like later, like at the end.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Charlotte was like, "Wait, I never agreed to this."
Yeah, they started arguing over who gets to go first.
Yeah.
I forgot what my point was,
But Arthur wasn't there, so you're talking about the family in Michael's vision when he was drowning the second time.
that's where I started at. Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
right there.
But like when he was in the pool the first time when he was talking to Arthur and when he saw Julian in San Francisco, they were like, protect her, go home, be with Rowan,
yeah, but at the same time, they're self-serving because they're acting like they want him to stop Lasher, but they don't, because they want to do the same thing Lasher's doing.
Well, but Arthur wouldn't have had that deal. So he does, like, if he was actually visiting Michael, then he would have been saying, "Hey, don't let him come through."
Yeah, but Was that Arthur or Lasher?
I think I could believe it was Arthur because it seems like there's this like limbo plane like in the earthly world where these people are all staying before they've moved on, and that's
Especially
why
if
they're
you
all
die in that house,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely reminds me of American Horror Story.
right? Fucking witching hour murder house. Arthur died in the house, right?
Yeah. No. Arthur died.
He died in like the
Later.
boat crossing over back to England or something.
Yeah, but he had heart
yeah,
trouble.
he got sick
Yeah.
and something. Yeah, okay, that's true.
Because Rowan asked him like, "Oh, did you kill Arthur?" And he was like, "I kind of helped it along, but he didn't really need help because he was already dying."
Which is a yes, I killed him.
Yeah, he always deflects like that. Like, did you kill him? I was like, well, no, he was dying, and I just kind of helped him
We're
along.
all dying anyway, so.
Right. I mean, if you're looking at it from Lasher's perspective, yeah, we're all already dying. But see, yeah, I don't believe a word he says because he does a lot of that. Oh, well, no, I didn't drown him. He was already drowning. I just took advantage of the situation. I didn't kill him. He was already dying. I just, helped him along. Like no, I think you, and you clearly do whatever the hell you want. So,
How is that good, even if that's true? It's like, that's not a good answer.
yeah, that's true too. Just lost one of my legs on my microphone.
But this is why it's just so annoying that she wasn't honest with Michael, because this is how he's able to get to all of them, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm sure some of them wanted him to come immediately, like Marguerite, but like just being able to isolate them and get in their head and change everything, but also because he has known a lot of them since they were little children. It's just I hate it.
Yeah.
Is that how they all got introduced to him? Like all this all night, I don't know, ghost sexophone?
Probably.
I feel like
But
Rowan
then
had the advantage there anyways because she didn't know Lasher from when she was a kid. She didn't grow up hearing these family stories and being influenced by that, so she would have been the best chance to combat him. And she was like, nope, I'm going to fall in love with him instead.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Like, we all said that this is going to end badly because of how defiant she was and how adamant she was that nothing was going to happen. But I was hoping she was going to fight a little bit. Like, a little bit.
Yeah.
She didn't, not even a smidgen. She just, it's the second he showed up, and like I said, he was like, hey, so I thought you were going to kill me. Where's all this anger at?
Yeah.
She was calling him before he even showed up. She was like, why aren't you here? I don't get it. Why don't you want me?
Well, I mean, I guess she was tired of the game. I mean, I can kind of get that. Like, let's get this over with. But then, the second he showed up, she did a 180. I don't know if she did a 180. I think she was always enamored with him, and she was just, what is it? Methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Yeah.
She definitely, it's almost like she's trying to talk herself into it, and she never managed to do that. And what, was Little Chris the name from the first kid in the previous relationship that got aborted?
I don't remember.
Like, where did they? I don't remember where they grabbed that name from. But she said it, and he was like, "Oh, yep, perfect." Like, well, wait, who the hell is Chris?
Well, Chris is a nickname, wasn't it? Like, it was.
Yeah. Like, Chris is the name it would have gone by, but it was androgynous, so they could have been like Christina or
names.
Christopher.
Yeah.
Right, but why Chris?
I don't know. Well, the boat was named Sweet Christine. I don't remember why, though.
Oh,
I don't
that's
think we ever got a why. I hated that name every time I saw it.
She got pregnant kind of near Christmas, so maybe.
Oh, maybe.
On the Sweet Christine, maybe?
Or it wasn't on the Sweet Christine because she definitely had a period when she was in Louisiana.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
I remember reading Michael woke up one night and Rowan was crying in like the living room or something, and he was like, "Oh, what's going on?" And she was like, nothing that doesn't happen to a woman every month. I was just hoping I was pregnant.
I remember. And then like the next day, she was a complete bitch.
Always. Yes.
Okay. I have so much highlighted. I don't even want to go over it all. Just kind of get to their conversation. It was
Also, though, like, I know a lot of these scenes we've said we can picture so clearly, like a movie playing in our head, but one of the creepiest ones that I could easily visualize was when Michael went upstairs and saw Rowan. He thought she was sleeping, but then her eyes were wide open and she had a creepy grin.
Yeah.
I got chills. I was like, oh God, no.
I had to read that scene a few times because the first time I was like, wait, what? No, wait. Did I read that right? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
I was waiting for the next sentence to be, and then he woke up from the dream, and it never happened.
Yeah.
No, then she woke up from her dream.
Yeah, because like the next day he talks about her porcelain doll face, and it was some kind of trick.
I got the impression that it was Lasher possessing her. Can't talk.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, that he was like messing with Michael by making her look super, super creepy. And Michael ended up waking her up by grabbing her arm, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you woke me. I was having this terrible dream."
Yeah, I also.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I wasn't sure like what was gonna happen, where I was like, and all of a sudden I just reached forward and grabbed her wrist, and I was like, oh my God, now he's gonna kill him. Like, what's happening?
I know.
The fact, and that we didn't know that he goes into anybody he wants when they go to sleep is super awful and super creepy.
Oh my God, I totally forgot. So much was happening, I didn't even like think about that. But he said he does that to Aaron, like
all the time.
Yeah.
So you might be right. That might have been him and her while she was sleeping, because that seems to be when he can do it the easiest.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So she probably was dreaming, and that probably was Lasher. Like, I don't
telling her how he was gonna become human.
I was gonna say he can probably control dreams.
Probably.
Maybe he was in her, so he had the dream she was having.
I almost want, like, well, maybe this is coming because I know the second book is Lasher and the third book is Taldos, but I think a book from Aaron's point of view would be really interesting.
Remember
not all the history crap, not the folder.
I don't remember what happens to him. Obviously, the Talamasca is in the whole series, but I don't remember exactly. Aaron's boss, David something, but that might be a vampire book. David Talbot or something. He's like the head of the Talamasca. He ends up becoming a factor, but I can't remember if that's Lestat or Lasher. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go. So yeah, we're painting the attic. So I've been going through all my books and moving them upstairs. I have a big, giant, like super gold leaf volume, Witching Hour, Vampire Chronicles. It's like the first 3 books and all fancy. If we ever get to that, but I don't. That's a lot.
Yeah. I loved Interview with the Vampire, but I haven't read any of the others.
The Queen of the Damned is my favorite, mostly because it's like this book. She explains the history of vampires going back to ancient Egypt. So you get like the File. You get like a 5,000-year history of vampires.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
You like all the history stuff, don't you?
Yes, in a word. I mean, I love the fact that their imagination is so powerful that they could just it was it. Like the fact that they just made it up. Like, wow, it's amazing. I find it fascinating. But yeah, like not a lot happens. Like the first time, like I remember being disappointed that the File was over, but this time I was like ready for it to be over. Like, all right, let's get back to this stuff. They were so that is the actual Rembrandt. I didn't realize that. I thought maybe that was like John Rembrandt, his distant cousin or something. But Deborah, immortalized by none other than the great Rembrandt, pretty much follows that. What did the dream mean? Because she kept seeing Jan Van Abel, right?
Yeah, that was Peter's father, the surgeon.
Right. And so, you know what? I think I know what the dream meant. Because he said something to her, like they always think you're a heretic when you're pushing the boundaries of science or something.
Well, wasn't that how Peter's dad died? Is like they thought he was a heretic because he was a surgeon or something. Or maybe he was doing experiments, I don't know, but they killed him pretty gruesomely, at least according to the dream.
He was doing something with blood work or circulatory system or something.
And I think, and obviously that's how Peter ended up at the Talamasca when he was 8.
Well, yeah, they obviously killed his dad. But so my point is, the Rowan's also pushing the boundaries of medical.
Huh?
Rowan is also pushing the boundaries of medical science. So.
Right. I think that's Lasher's way of both informing and rationalizing it to Rowan.
Like, all the greats of science have had, everyone else had reservations, but this person obviously knew what they were doing and were bettering society as a whole by researching this, even though it may have ended badly for them.
Right. And also look where you've come from. Like, this is in your roots, it's in your history, you're fulfilling your legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much to.
So, who do we think sent Michael?
It's hard to tell at this point.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, even, clearly these ghost people have their own agenda, which I don't quite understand, because they're pretty much immortal the way they are right now. If they go back into a body, they just have to go die again, right? Or are they? Well, although, I said that out loud, Lasher doesn't think he's going to become immortal by having this body. He thinks he's going to be an immortal human.
Yeah, which that seems to defy logic.
He's still alive, and after Michael was like, I mean, he probably didn't.
He was learning how to fight by Michael fighting with him. That was weird. I didn't like it. He's like, oh, so that's how you do that. And he does the same thing back to him, only it's like 5 times stronger.
It made me think of an episode of Charmed where it's a demon that steals your power if you use it against them. So it's like, oh my god, how do you fight that?
I don't know. But my point, so, clearly they have their own agenda. I mean, they want to come through. It's the end game for them. So they need Lasher to come through. But even in San Francisco, when he sees Julian and who was the other one? Mary? Anyway, he still thinks, Deborah, I think it's, whoever he saw in San Francisco, he still thinks they're good people and their motives are altruistic, and they want him to go back to stop Lasher. He's just wrong on all of it.
The thing is, I could see it being either way. Like, either Lasher is doing it and they're all working together and they want to become immortal or become human again or whatever, or they all got tricked by Lasher and, maybe were made promises that were not able to come true, or like they thought they were doing what was right and then realized that he was only in it for himself to become this human or this mortal being, and then are now trying to stop because they realize that Rowan is going to actually be able to help him come through, and they don't want that to happen.
Yeah, it's hard to tell which is real. Because you're not getting the viewpoint of the ghost, you're getting the viewpoint of Michael, whose ideals are severely skewed, and of Rowan, who thinks much higher of herself than she should. It's like you almost need the viewpoint of the ghost to know what would be truthful.
Like, why would Julian care about Michael going back from San Francisco? Because if anything, like, it would, not that Michael really had a chance anyway, but like Lasher was good. Like, it would have been fine. Like, it would have been better without any intervention. So why would Julian want to send him back if they were not trying to intervene.
Right. That's what I was asking before, because Michael going back, there was a chance, slim, but there was a chance that he could have reasoned with Rowan and talked to her and had her fight Lasher. Versus if he had just stayed in San Francisco, either he would have been killed through whatever like obstacles Lasher was trying to put in his way, or just like stayed out there and been dealing with stuff and not gone back and not had the even the ability to talk Rowan out of it.
Maybe it was Lasher in San Francisco.
But why? Why would he want Michael back?
I don't know. Maybe he needed him back there for something. But what happened when he got back?
All he did
Had
was
the fight
tell
and then he left, right?
Rowan to have him out of there.
Yeah.
That's true.
He
he
talked
did
to
say
Erin
something about
and he tried to talk to Rowan and she didn't take anything he said.
Did he say something about he was working with him and now he's... I'm paraphrasing, but basically he was helping him when he was in the beginning and now he's not, so he's got to go.
Yeah, he's like, my sweet Michael is turned against me or something like that.
When was he ever for him though? Like,
Well, he didn't realize he was for him by fulfilling Lasher's plan of connecting with Rowan.
yeah. I guess though, because he never thought he was for Rowan, so it's curious what made Lasher think that he's now against him, even though he was never for him in the beginning. I know he was unwillingly doing his bidding, basically.
I mean, this is also a conversation he was having with Rowan. Like, we don't get to hear Lasher's thoughts, so he could have just been lying too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Michael's purpose is just to get her pregnant. And then
I think absolutely, yeah.
But what is the deal with the hands?
Yeah, that's another big question. Like, what? Well, why? Where did it go? What was the purpose? Where did it come from?
He didn't do
Where'd you
anything.
come from that night, though?
Yeah, it's like he didn't, solve any great mystery or facilitate or impede anything. He just...
The only thing I can think is like what we theorized last time, that he was able to use that to basically see all of the ghosts and their memories and things in the house and see what Lasher really wanted, like with the heads and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because that gave both of them, but especially like more so Rowan, an idea of what they were trying to accomplish and what Lasher's ultimate goal was.
Which would make me think that the power comes from Lasher.
True.
Well, that's the other question. Is not a question, but is everything are they there to serve Lasher, or like are they an offshoot of what he is able to do, or
You're talking
is
about
he
the
a
family
part
and the
of what
ghosts?
they are? You know what I mean? Who's the controlling factor here? And I think it's him.
That's what I keep thinking, and the only thing that makes me think otherwise is the Julian visit. I keep trying to find another reason for that visit.
In San Francisco?
Uh-huh.
I'm not convinced that was Julian. And
So
like I
then
said, like Michael's
So,
like, oh, they want me to do good still. Like, well, no, they want.
I get not wanting to believe Michael, but why would Lasher want to have him come back?
I don't know.
To kill him?
Okay, so then if it was Julian, why does Julian
Kill
want him to
him
come back?
there. Well, the only reason Julian would want him to come back is to stop Rowan.
Yeah.
But that works against his purpose.
Exactly, which is why I don't know what to believe.
Maybe too, if it wasn't Julian, if it was Lasher and he was telling him to come back, maybe he felt like he couldn't, but maybe he shouldn't be the one to kill Michael. Maybe he was hoping that Rowan would do it to prove her loyalty to Lasher.
That's one theory. Yeah, that's better than.
I mean, I don't know that I put a 300-year plan on Hope. Like, Lasher doesn't seem like the kind of guy that leaves loose ends. So, like, he's been seeing this end game from day one because, he has no time. So he sees everything, but then he doesn't at the same time. I don't know if he was just making that up or didn't want to tell them what he knew. But like on the one hand, he's like, I've seen it all from the beginning, and on the other hand, he's like, well, I don't know what they're going to do. Well, okay.
Well, yeah, he's lying.
His excuse was, I see it all, but there's variables. It sounds like a free will.
I was gonna say, people have free will. Like, do they? Because you orchestrated this very moment, so from generations.
Yeah, he was very much making it sound like there was no free will and everything was predetermined to go exactly as he had planned.
Oh, you know what I just thought of though? Michael was so right. He everything was planned.
Everything. I mean,
Oh.
He's not gonna want to hear that, but too bad, because he spent a couple pages, I think, saying it can't be planned. I can't accept that. If it's planned, then I'm out. Like, yeah, sure. But it was. I mean, when she finished the book, you're like, wait, everything that happened was Lasher. He manipulated all of that. Even like Michael reading the file, because Michael had to read the file for Rowan to read the file, and he wanted Rowan to know the history.
Right.
There's I don't know, nothing that Michael did that Lasher didn't have to do. And they never really said why he was seeing him as a kid. It was almost like Lasher didn't even know that one.
Well, I kind of like, why? I don't know.
Is it just like some inherent power he had to see ghost demon things?
Yeah, like, this is an intelligent, strong man.
And so, what was it? The brute who reads Dickens? I think that's what features your brute.
Yeah. Which is just it's so stereotypically insulting, like, to so many people.
I think it's like, I don't know, Anne Rice is like dream guy, honestly. He's like sensitive and brutish and smart and like checking all the boxes for it.
Yeah, we learned a lot about Anne Rice's preferences, yes.
I'm gonna say she likes it rough. Just going. Yeah, it was a little. The whole ghost rape sex thing made me upset.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most uncomfortable part of it, as weird as it is to say, is because it's a demon, and the rest of it, it just reads like a rape fantasy, basically.
Yeah, and it was almost like I was reading a romance novel.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it was Stephen King writing it, you wouldn't get all that emotional perspective. So I mean, I like that part.
What was it? Yeah.
But that's it.
No, nothing. It was just, I'm not sure what. I think I know what you're trying to say, but if it was Stephen King writing it, we wouldn't have all this emotion in it. This woman, but.
No, that was all in your head, because that was the exact opposite of it.
I know, I'm kidding.
I like the fact that it was from a woman's perspective, because you don't get that from a guy. So there was much more emotions running through the book, and that's part of. I mean, can't say that. It's part of Anne Rice's style. Her characters are emotional. They just go out on whims. There's a lot of exclamation points.
Yes.
No, I definitely agree. I liked reading the female or yeah, from a woman's perspective this time, especially about something like this, because Stephen King will do romance and sex scenes, but it is different. You can tell it's different.
He just kind of does it to get it over with, almost.
Right.
Like he's not into it. So the doorway, I don't really get either.
The what?
The doorway.
Oh, the doorway. Yeah.
Like, okay, so there's 12 witches and there's 12 gravestones. So.
Right, because their bodies are still there because they're waiting to come back to them.
Oh, ew, really? Is that what's going on?
And that's why there's only 12 and not 13, because Rowan will never die because she'll become immortal by this pact.
Wait, so they're going to go into these old crumbly bodies that are like decayed?
I mean, I imagine their powers...
Or no, Rowan's going to fix the body when they go into
right.
it. I didn't even think of that.
That's why they all were in there. Like, remember at the end when they were all like, Antha's head was crushed because she hit the pavement and Stella's gunshot wound was bleeding out? Like, they were all in their dead body forms.
Oh, I forgot what Stella. Oh yeah, I guess she was. Wasn't Antha was missing an eye or something, wasn't
But she should have been.
I think she was.
I don't know why I laughed at that. But...
Well, that was interesting. Carlotta wasn't there, even though she was like the most powerful witch of all of them.
Yeah, okay. So Carlotta.
There's a whole book on that too.
That's so many more questions. Like, so somebody early on in, I think, part 3, they say that it's Carlotta that was not letting, like, that was like damaging all of the people trying to work on the house, like making the ladders fall and hurting them, trying to scare them off so nobody would come and repair the property. And the only thing I could think is because at the end, the family all makes a comment to Michael like, oh, thank you so much for restoring this house where we could all come and get better and, whatever. So I'm like, maybe she knew that was the plan, so she didn't want the house. She wanted the house to go into disrepair so nobody could ever use it or something. Oh yeah, thanks to your efforts in restoration, we have this safe and marvelous place in which to wait our turn to become flesh again. Oh, because the house is where they're all tied to. Right. So, right. That's why she said burn it down. Okay, that does make sense.
Who said burn it down?
Carlotta.
Oh, yeah. The nephew or Fierce or somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes that commandment or that direction much more significant. Huh? If she burns it down, all those 13, 12 people on Lasher can't come through. Or is Lasher the 13th? Well, he's the first.
But, it does. So there's a lot of things I'm learning too now. I think it was probably Lasher's doing that Cortland raped Deirdre because he knew that Rowan was coming. And then maybe that's why Carlotta didn't, maybe she was trying to kill these women before they could have children so the legacy would not go forward.
Well, he said the pact was that they would have one female child, something.
Yeah, but Carlotta was not a part of that pact.
Right, and neither was Mary Beth, then it became Julian, who was definitely not female. So apparently there's flexibility in the rules.
That's a good point, yeah.
But it wasn't Mary Beth was Catherine and Julian.
Yeah.
Offspring. So technically, Catherine was the person who was the... Oh, my brain can't think of the term.
The legacy.
Thank you. Yep. She was the holder of the legacy, and she...
That's a good point.
Revoked it and gave it to Julian, but she still had the female heir to pass the legacy onto.
Well,
Yeah.
and so I mean, then Julian fathered her, so technically he also bore a female for the legacy to pass on to.
Yeah.
You can probably attribute all the incest to Lasher, right? At least to a point.
Probably.
At least
Yeah.
maybe
Starting
initially,
with-
not
Yeah,
the
starting with
ongoing.
Peter and Mabel. Peter and Charlotte. That was
Yeah,
definitely
they said-
influenced by Lasher.
Didn't Lasher say something about how he manipulated Peter into screwing Charlotte? Or...
Say again?
Didn't Lasher say that, how he manipulated Peter into screwing his daughter?
Yeah, I don't remember, but probably.
Yeah, probably.
Right. Well,
It makes me feel.
I know.
Well,
I
again,
think he said that he possessed her father-in-law. Well, we know that he did possess her father-in-law, but that like he screwed her while he was possessing the old man. I don't think he was ever possessing Peter.
hey, you should
But
read
I
the
think he was
audiobook. I love the way
influenced
he
that.
Is the keyhole? Even in the old photos, there's always a keyhole door. And then Lily, whoever she is, says yes to the door. Keyhole doorway carved right above the crypt. Like, is that important, or is that just like, don't forget, there's going to be 12 of these, and we need like Rowan's the doorway, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why do they keep mentioning the? I don't know. I guess it's just figurative.
Yeah,
They almost
it's
made it
probably
seem like there's
figurative,
an
and they
actual-
probably didn't actually understand what needed to happen because they thought they needed an actual physical doorway.
Yeah, nobody even knows that there's always the same keyhole doorway carved right above the crypt. So nobody even knows who did it. Well, it was Julian, of course, then, right?
Well, plus, like, they talk about how Stella was always trying to get together the 13 witches. Like, they're always trying to. They understand there's 13 witches in a doorway, but they never figured out how to make it work. It says like they don't understand that you can't just pick any 13 witches. Like, this is pre-planned already.
Yeah, it's 13 generations of witches.
Right.
But why didn't Lasher tell her that?
Well, I
Was
don't
he
think
like,
Stella
hey,
would.
this isn't gonna. I don't know what you're up to, but this isn't gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, he probably didn't tell her that. She probably heard that
What?
from other people in the family.
Maybe she was renouncing him at that point. Because wasn't she trying to get away from him there at the end?
Yeah.
Maybe when she was doing that. But if she was trying to get away from Lasher, she would be trying to bring him through. Or did she not know what the 13 was going to do?
Well, that's the thing is we have no idea what he said to all these other people. So, and that's one of the things that Rowan kept saying, but she didn't push on it, was like, what did you promise them?
Yeah, and that he doesn't answer any questions. So,
Right.
like, I was getting mad reading her talking to him because every time she asked him something, he was like, "Oh, my beautiful one, my daughter, blah 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 blah." It's like, are you falling for this nonsense?
Apparently.
Yeah, well, she did. So I feel like he's got some kind of other persuasive power where she wasn't able to play them. Like, and maybe that's part of his thing, where they think they're controlling him, but he's actually able to manipulate their will to do what he wants them to do and make them think that they're just doing it on their own. Which would explain some of the incest.
So I talk about an abusive partner.
Houston. I like the fact that the old people get together at the party and they're like, "Oh yeah, so what about Lasher? You seen that guy yet?" Everyone's like, "Oh my God, shut up! Don't talk about that." Why not? Like, we all know it. Why aren't we going to talk about it?
That was what I thought you were talking about when you first said the family, like, talking.
Oh no. But I like that scene. I thought that was. I don't know what's her name, Gifford's deal is, but he was all dramatic about it.
Yeah.
Like she had never talked. No, maybe they had. Maybe the peripheral people never had really talked about it.
it also makes me wonder, like, what is the significance of all of these sightings, or like some, like, what's her name, Rita Mae Lonigan heard Lasher speak. Like, why did he choose to become visible at some points and not others? Like, is that important or not? I don't get it.
I don't know that he's choosing it.
So you
He
think it's
didn't-
the witch?
He didn't choose Michael to see him, but he did.
How do we know he didn't choose? I'm pretty sure he can choose
He
it or
said he
not.
didn't know why, something along those lines. If he had always seen, Michael had always seen him. He just said, like, Michael was able to.
I mean, again, yeah, he said that, but
Well, I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
I think
Maybe
some
Michael-
stuff you have to take at face value just for the story to move along.
Well, Michael, I guess they did say that he has a I don't know how, a touch of the shine, if you will.
I almost said that. Like, oh, they got the shine. Like, oh, wait a minute, that's not the okay. But that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be saved by the doorway and the 13 witches. So they think that they're going to go back into the old body. Rowan's going to fix the bodies up, which seems like a much more difficult task. It's like someone like, I don't know, Deborah, who's been dead for 300 years. I can't be more than a pile of bones, so don't you need to have some flesh, some cells in there to work with?
That's like when they were saying Lasher is gonna bring the rest of us through and we're all gonna be immortal. I'm like, so does that mean that Rowan has to give up 12 other children to bring the rest of the family through to the world?
Ugh.
What?
Because
I don't
that's
know.
how Lasher came through.
You mean, does it have to be Rowan's kid every time?
Well,
Or is she gonna open her own embryo lab?
I think the difference is that Lasher didn't have a body before. But
Okay.
Or maybe that's why they were making the dolls.
yeah, that was gonna be my next question too. What is with the dolls then? I don't understand the significance.
So
Maybe
that
the
they
dolls-
have like cells
But you know what?
of their ancestors.
Maybe the dolls are what are keeping their spirits on the plane. Like,
That would make sense.
Is there a Lasher ball? Can they? Yeah, like when he appears. I'm surprised Rowan didn't try that. Can like cut a piece of his hair off or something like that?
I mean, if you ever tried to like touch him though, he would disappear.
Yeah, but when she does, and that was what was that whole scene where she talks to him for like 50 pages. I kept having to remind myself that she's just like talking to an empty room. The empty room is answering. There's
Yeah.
not someone sitting there that she can see. Which makes the whole conversation a little weird. But like she said, she put her like, hand on his chest and you know, it felt like a real person. So he didn't disappear every time somebody touched him. But no, I'm surprised at the time that she didn't try to take it. She definitely did actually.
What'd you say?
She definitely tried to take a sample after he came through, or she did take a sample. I don't know what. She was talking about she needed a blood sample and this and that.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So I think the Lasher needed a body because he didn't have one before, and that she's gonna do like I don't know how cells work, but she's going to basically use cells from Lasher and mix them with cells from the dead bodies to help regenerate with her power and recreate them basically.
So it has to be her every time then, right?
Oh yeah, but she's got to be the one to do it for sure, but
But
not
not necessarily her kid. Yeah.
not give birth. I don't think it's more of like her power.
I don't remember.
I would hope it would be more so that, and not like the horror that she went through.
Well, no, I'm not saying it would be not horrific. I just mean I don't think she's going to be giving birth. I think it's going to be more of like in a laboratory kind of thing.
Yeah.
we were, like, he wouldn't be a ghost anymore. He'd be entering into this very world. That's just, yeah, I don't see how that makes him immortal. I think there's a flaw in his thinking there. 'Cause I know-
Well, and just in like in It, where when he became the werewolf and they hit it with the silver slug, he had to abide by the rules of the physical being he was inhabiting. So I don't understand why this wouldn't be a similar principle of like, now that he is flesh and is, you know, a physical being, there should be a lifespan with that.
Wasn't the silver slug based on belief? They believed it would work, so it did work. Because that's just like the silver slug's just like a movie trope. But I see what you're saying. Like Pennywise, in many different forms, whatever form he was in, had to abide by the law, the physical laws of the form.
Right.
And that's what I was thinking. Like, so if Lasher is becoming human, then he's, well, she does say he wouldn't be human. So
the thing is, like, I see what you're saying, but this is a timeless demon, basically. So giving it a physical form, I don't think we can assume that means it's gonna have the same characteristics as a human. It could just mean it is now even more powerful and invulnerable, or what's the word where you can't be killed?
Invulnerable.
Oh yeah, invulnerable.
how did Cortland die?
He
was
Lasher
pushed
killed
down
him.
the stairs.
Yeah.
You killed Cortland after Cortland raped your mother?
Well,
Or was that what-
Cortland was of no use anymore.
Cortland's worse than Julia, but how much of that? I think later in the book, Lasher says how he had Cortland do that to make Rowan.
right.
So, I don't know. Cortland served his purpose, so now we don't need
Yeah,
him.
I think Cortland was starting to change his mind about the whole situation, and that's why he died.
Oh yeah, because he was trying to whisk her away and get away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then she kept coming back for some reason. There's so much that doesn't make sense. What?
I think Carlotta just really, because at this point, Deirdre still wasn't pregnant. Like, she was just out there, whatever. And so Carlotta just really did not want her to have a baby.
What would happen if you had no kid? Is it
that-
done?
It wouldn't happen. Lasher, like,
Would he just go back where he came from before he was made self-aware?
he
What
would.
did he say? You thought of me, which made me think you
No,
you
the
thought of
thing
us
is,
with focused our attention on ourselves and made us aware of ourselves or something.
that almost happened with Deirdre, and so then I don't know. I believe he could have possessed Cortland, or it could have been Cortland on his own. I don't know, but basically raped Deirdre to have a baby, so he wouldn't have let that happen.
Yeah. Which I know they kind of go into like Carlotta saying, "Oh, I should have killed Deirdre when she was a baby, just crying in that crib, but I couldn't because she was my flesh and blood and I was weak." Okay, I get that. There there are many ways to make sure someone doesn't have a baby, some being more permanent than others. So you can make her not have a baby while still keeping her alive.
I don't know that I'd be okay with that either. Like,
I mean, no, it would be horrific, but at the same time, if she really wanted to make sure that Deirdre didn't have a child, there could have been other ways than
What should
killing
they do?
her.
Put her on the injection, the 5-year one, and that would have been the end of that, right?
Or I mean, the most concrete way would have remove everything.
Have her tubes tied or something. I don't know that a doctor would do that. just
Hysterectomy or
because-
something.
that
Okay.
is yeah, but I mean, like, I get what you're saying, you're still alive at least, but like, then imagine being this girl, like, forced to be sterile, like, with not because of nothing that you did.
That's like the least of her problems.
True, but then I mean, maybe Lasher would have left her alone. Maybe he would have not had another option at that point. So she maybe wouldn't have had to go through life drugged and
I
put
feel
through
like
electroshock.
he would have just made another branch.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's part of Carlotta's evil.
I do understand a little bit more of Carlotta's actions now.
Yeah.
Yes, but it doesn't make him okay. She's just as bad.
Yeah.
I understand why she did it, and I get what she was trying to do, but like, she's not doing it because she cares about Deirdre or Antha. She's doing it because it's a front to God and her religious sensibilities. So it's not some altruistic motive. She sees it as the devil, and the devil's got to go.
Is it even religious though, or is it more moral?
I thought she was super religious.
I think she is, yeah, because they're close with the fathers.
Yeah, wasn't she like going to church all the time?
But I think her sense of morality comes from her religion.
Yeah.
True.
Like, the old man didn't mean any harm. He's just crazy. They all have a little crazy. I guess it's their Irish blood. Hey, wait a minute. What are you trying to say? I feel like talking shit on us Irish people, or she is. Yeah, I'm trying to get to. I do a lot of highlighting. I'm trying to get to their conversation. Haven't made it there yet. I like how she says. It's how you can tell how far gone she is. She says something about. I have to get there. The only people that know are you, Aaron, and your friend Michael Curry, or something like that. And this is the guy she's married to, so she doesn't even call him that. She says it's his friend.
Yeah,
And by the way, his middle name is Timothy as well. So it's James Timothy Curry. Michael James Timothy Curry. But yeah, she's like, your friend Michael Curry. Like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, that right there told me, like, oh, she's totally gone. Like, she doesn't even see this guy as her husband anymore.
the guy that she was saying she was married to before she even asked him to marry her.
Right. He falls in love with everybody, I feel like.
It was breaking my heart when he was talking to Aaron about how she didn't even ask about me. She doesn't talk about the baby.
The shit he said, I didn't even think about, but it just shows you how she underestimated him.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I'm reading it, I'm like, does she know that he knows? How much does he know? And then he's like, man, she didn't even mention the baby. You know, that's a good point. Because who wouldn't? Like, that would be the topic of conversation almost, if not every conversation, most of them.
Well, but when they were in Florida, they were talking about it like every day. I mean,
right. And why didn't she want to leave Florida? Because she didn't want to deal with Lasher? Is that what that was?
I think she kind of probably knew what was coming.
Yeah, maybe she thought Lasher couldn't get to her in Florida. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, we know that's not true.
Yeah.
I think he prefers the house, but I don't think it's impossible.
I don't understand why Michael didn't go back the second. First of all, he shouldn't have left. Honestly, this is coming. Don't do it. Don't leave.
Yeah.
But second, you should have gone back the second that she wasn't answering the phone, or the second that I don't know, there had to have been something that was off. If there's unopened mails piling up on the table, something's wrong.
I'm not sending Ryan Mayfair to go talk to her. If she's not answering the phone, I know why. I'm leaving now.
Yeah.
Honestly, he should have known better than to go to fucking California. He shouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
That shit ain't going anywhere. And and again, maybe that was just Lasher manipulating him out of the picture for a little while. Because I don't see Michael leaving Rowan when he knows that that significantly increases the potential for Lasher to show up and for it to be bad with nobody else around.
especially when he is the one who's been worried about it the whole time, and she's acting like it's no big deal.
Right. He's way too emotional and protective to just be like, all right, well, no, I don't know. Call me if it happens. Like, you're gonna tell me, right? All right. Well, I'm just gonna go to California and just let me know if anything. Like, no, it would never happen. I mean, even when she's like, get out. Like, you're gonna die if you don't leave. He's like, no, I'm not going anywhere. Fuck you. Like, but he went to California for 3 weeks.
Right. I don't get it.
It obviously sounded like they did talk when he was in California, but it never mentions her like answering the phone or seeing her side of the conversation. So I wonder if any of that actually was her.
I don't think they did until that one groggy conversation where he's like, I'm leaving. I'm going home.
No, because he said like the conversations are always short and she seems disconnected.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
But that she's
her part,
answering.
They definitely had been talking like I don't like every day. It seemed like for a little bit.
yeah, like when Lasher showed up and they're doing the her and Lasher thing, and I'm reading that going, wait, where's Michael the whole time? And there's no way this guy is going to go days without talking to him.
Yeah.
So, and I was starting to think that I was like, how long has it been? And then we flip back to him, and it's like, oh, I called her, blah blah blah. So I mean, I don't know. I think she just kind of forgot that part and threw it in there on the rewrite. But yeah, he's I don't know what the word is. Way too high maintenance to just go away for that long.
Exactly.
He would have been talking to her at least twice a day, if not.
Yeah.
I mean, with all the money that they have, there is no reason he had to go to the house. I mean, like even the boxes he was worried about, like, you're paying people to take care of your shit. You think they're just gonna throw it everywhere? Like, you can tell them specifically, you need to make sure that these do not get like damaged.
Yeah, it's yeah, he took a private jet back, so I mean, yeah, come on, he didn't need to go out. It's the witching hour, darling, and we have it all to ourselves. What time was that? That was their wedding night, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was, and so was our wedding night, Rowan. Yep, that was the line before it. So yeah.
So the witching hour in this book is midnight?
I'm not sure what time it was. The period. Well, I think you can say in this chapter. I don't know if you can say in this book. It seems to be a flexible witching hour. The witching hours. Yeah, and he spends a lot of time like how perfect the wedding day was, and blah blah blah. And I don't deserve to be this happy. You know, I'm just reading, going, oh man.
I know.
I know this is going to shit soon. So.
Oh yeah.
Stop telling me how happy you are.
I think it would have been more satisfying, like we said, if Rowan hadn't given in seemingly so easily. And it's like, maybe it's not fair. Maybe she never had a choice, or a fighting chance. But like, it hurt. Like, it hurt a lot.
Well, I wonder, because obviously she's a main character, but a main character doesn't necessarily mean she's a protagonist.
Oh, I don't consider her a protagonist at this point.
Definitely not, but I wonder if Anne Rice ever intended for her to be.
There's 2 more books.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what happens to them necessarily. I know they go back to Donna Leith at one point, but I don't remember what happens. Like, I think they explored Lasher's origins in the Lasher book. But I don't think Rowan's ever a protagonist. Like, if she is, she's like the worst one ever.
Well, I think she was for a large part of the book.
I think she was more ambiguous. She wasn't necessarily good or bad. She was just living her life, maybe, until she had a reason to focus her direction a little more, and then you found out who she really was.
I'm gonna disagree because I think everything with like her actions and then her like you know what I'm talking about. Like it was her trying to be a better person to make up for the things that she had done wrong. Like I think.
Okay, yeah. There was a lot of that because she was pretty sure she had killed people and she spent her whole life trying to make up for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't they say that was part of the reason why she became a doctor?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know why, like originally, but then after all of this stuff happened. Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind, because that started happening when she was a little girl. Yeah.
Yeah, because she killed that other little girl when she was like 6 or 8 or something.
Yeah.
Right. But she was popular in school.
But so up until like the last, like, I don't know, 150 pages or so, it seemed like she had a good fighting chance. Like, she's going to do this. She's going to beat him. She's going to end this curse once and for all. And then...
Oh, nope. She doesn't even try.
No.
She knows better than everyone else.
Yeah.
I like, I felt like she built up them waiting for Lasher to show up so much that it was like, how could this possibly live up to the hype when he finally does show up? Or is he just never going to show up? But so I like the way he's just all of a sudden there. There was no like, hey, I think I saw smoke in the corner and maybe there was a being and blah, blah, blah. And she's just like sitting there thinking to herself like, man, that Alka-Seltzer made me feel better. I think I'm okay now. And then he's just like right there again. Oh, good. I'm glad you feel better. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Who the fuck was that?
Well, there was a little build up with like the roses and the necklace. And
Right, but I mean when he actually like...
Yeah,
there was definitely build up. That's what I mean. There was a whole long run up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like maybe 100 pages of them like, okay, what's he waiting for? And so I was sitting there going, there's no way he's going to live up to the hype. But
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I felt that way too, where it was kind of like, okay, we know this is coming. Like, what's gonna happen? Like this Lasher guy we keep hearing about, and then it was like he was there and we were in it, and I was like, oh my god, everybody was so right about him.
he, what is there for me but to serve you, my love, my beautiful one, my daughter? Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Who is falling for that? I'm not. Apparently, she read the file, right? She knows better.
She should.
I mean, I'm thinking he's manipulating Will to a point. But then again, I think she wanted to be manipulated because she wants... if she's a neurosurgeon, that's exactly what she would want to study is a mysterious, I don't know, non-human being.
The key to manipulating anyone's will is about, like changing their psyche and seduction and things like that. So it's not hard at all to say that he is changing their will by changing their consciousness and seducing them and things like that.
Yeah, he's like the model for an abusive spouse or child or something like that.
He is the definition of like love bombing and making them feel so special and like they're the only one that has ever made them feel this way, and obviously that's not true.
Yeah, I mean, it could be true. It's not true for him, but not everybody that does that. Maybe true for some people, but he's said this at least 12 times previously, I'm sure. Probably more like 14 because there's Carlotta and Mary Catherine who are like, nope, get out of here with that shit.
Yeah.
And they were both super religious. I wonder if there's a theme there. So the only two people that were able to tell Lasher no were Catholic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, religious is not the right word because there was a lot of voodoo in this family.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I wish they would have went further. I mean, the book was big enough, but you could almost make the file a separate book and explore more stuff.
Yeah, I feel like the file could have been like an addendum to this book or a prequel or something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there like maybe we didn't need to know all of it, but there's a lot of it you need to know to understand like Lasher and his motivations and his story, basically.
Yeah.
You don't need to, but it definitely helps. I mean, you don't need to read The Stand, but it definitely helps.
But I mean,
So,
like,
I mean,
understanding the legacy and understanding the significance of the 13 and understanding how he's been planning this for generations on generation.
I don't think the file. I didn't understand any of that till him and Rowan started talking, and maybe a little bit with the old people at the party.
No, but like meaning like you know where the family comes from, like you know what he's like. That's like his motivations. That's what I'm talking about.
It's definitely better to know the history while you're seeing what these characters are doing.
The point that I'm
if
making,
anything, you'd have to put it at the beginning.
if you don't know the history, then you don't really care about like Lasher.
Well, it's still a ghost story. No, I mean, yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I think I wouldn't want to read that file after the book, but definitely before.
I think there's a lot in there about like all of the stuff. I understand it was a painting a picture about the wealth and the legacy, but there's so much about the finances and the this business and that, and they traded, and I'm like, I don't care.
Some of it, yeah. I like how she just wakes up with the fucking giant ass diamond on her neck. She's still like grossed out by it. She can't wait to get it off. And then
I was once the end came, I kind of expected the emerald to be involved somehow. And the fact that it wasn't at all, I was kind of like, okay, then what the hell did that signify?
Well, they did say, somebody said that like the emerald doesn't really mean anything.
The emerald means that you have the legacy.
Yeah.
It's all yours. No matter what anyone else says and all that other residual and peripheral wealth, it all comes from that emerald. Your control. So if you tell everyone they have no money, then guess what? They have no money.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be a little more complicated than that, but like what did they say? They haven't even touched the principal one in years. They just live off the other stuff.
I felt kind of bad at the end too when Ryan was like, she keeps moving large sums of money, and like, what did we do? Like, was there something different we should have done? And I was like, oh, buddy, it's not your fault.
Yeah, I thought he was talking about the wedding, them being married. Like how did it all go wrong?
No.
But because she's moving large sums of money, but they have so much that I feel like that doesn't matter. He just wanted to know why.
Yeah.
She was, and like I said, she's like, "Fuck you! I have the emerald. Give me your money." But that begs another question: what does she need all that money for?
Laboratories to cultivate new bodies. I don't know. Well, I guess she.
Yeah.
No, wait a second. She can't because it has to be at the house. If that.
Yeah, they're stuck to the house, right?
But oh my god, I just thought about that. But Michael doesn't have his power anymore, so how? Maybe he wouldn't even know if they're there or not.
But Julian was in San Francisco, so they're not stuck to the house necessarily.
Well, but they can't. Like he said, he wouldn't even like look at him. Like they can't really do much. It seems like outside of the house.
He was sort of there, but not fully
Yeah.
there. Maybe his face wasn't fully formed or something. Oh, that would be kind of cool. Creepy.
Or
Something out of Emily Rose.
if anything was maybe tied to the dolls, because we kind of lose track of them. We don't know where they are. So maybe when Michael was in the hospital, they were moved to wherever Rowan and Lasher were.
Talamasca probably has them at this point, right? Didn't they take all the cool stuff out? Didn't they give it all to Aaron?
Well, we have no idea what happened after Michael drowned and then before the ambulance got there.
Can you be more specific?
The second
I'm
time.
just kidding. He drowned a couple times.
Third time, yeah.
Where
when he went away or whatever.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he was
in the
being
hospital forever.
held underwater, and then he woke up with all the family, and then he woke up again, and they were saving his life. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time he was like talking. Was it the family? And I was like, this is deflection. He's sitting there drowning. Like, you need to stop talking with these people. Or was it Lasher? It was something, and he figures it out at the end. He's like, wow, I would have drowned if I just not saw through Lasher's, scheme.
yeah, that's a good point. They didn't want him to go back out there. They told him he had to wait.
They were like, oh, you're dead. You're one of us now. So come on, let's go. You're going to have to, get in line, and you're at the end, just so you know.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I can see it right there. I'm going to go that way. Bye.
Yeah, I'll take door number 2. I'll talk to you guys later, or maybe I won't if you take my powers away.
The vision in the beginning of the visions, he talked about 2 people coming to see him, right? Like, and that's Deborah and Julian.
I thought there was like one person really talking to him, and then everyone else was just kind of like a shadow in the background.
Oh, okay.
There was a couple talking, but I think it was it was like a main, like 2 or 3 maybe, and the rest were just kind of there. I think Charlotte or Deborah said something. Julian was talking to him, and one other one, I think.
In the first vision?
No, at the end.
That's what I was talking about. Like what he could never remember. He always talked about there being like 2 people, right?
Yeah, but he said it was Deborah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
no, well, that's what I understand. It's Deborah. I was trying to clarify if he said it was 2 or if he's just talking about Deborah.
It seemed like the only one, when he was reading the file, the only one he really recognized was Deborah.
No, yeah, I know, but I remember when he first started talking about having the vision, he was like, I remember.
I think you're right. I think there was like ghosty people standing around the edges while he talked while they talked to him. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, which again, I guess it would have been all of the people that he saw at the end, which or not. Like, we still don't know who sent him.
So what was their game? Were they against Lasher or for? No, they were for him, right? They had to be.
But we keep going back and forth on this. That's the question. I don't know.
Not like I can ask Anne Rice got it.
I think you'd have to like line up all the evidence because there's such a good case for either, in my opinion.
Definitely will. I mean, the end will piss you off, but. And I remember the first time I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I just went through all this for that? But I'm okay with it now. I get it. You kind of fill the rest in your head. So, she's in Switzerland or Sweden or somewhere, and she's doing a fuckload of experiments. And you're like, But you want to know, are the rest of them going to come through? What's going on there? But there's something to be said for cliffhanger ending too. So I mean, that's what she wanted. She said she never planned on writing another witch book after that. And then, like Krusty the Clown says, they dumped a truckload of money in front of me. What was I supposed to do? So it was like Blair Witch when that movie ended. Like I was so freaking mad. I waited an hour and a half or something to happen, and it did, and it was over.
I mean, that is a kind of like we're upset, but that's also kind of the point of like horror is like you're not supposed to get a happy ending.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Stephen King podcast, and we all know about happy endings. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for the ending yet, but
sometimes you just want something to go right, and then nothing goes right, and you're like, wow, so this entire story is about how the bad guy won. Cool.
It's I mean, whenever I finish a book, I always want more. I mean, if it's a good book, I want to know what happened next. But so when they do those ambiguous cliffhanger endings, you're like, oh, you son of a bitch, you couldn't just like write another 10 pages.
Well, what about what specifically are you talking about?
I was talking in general, but like,
Oh, okay.
well, let's say for this book, like, I'm already, we've been living with these characters for how long? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss these people. I'm gonna miss Aaron and even Michael's dumbass. I feel bad for him now, but I still don't like him a whole lot. But he's very high maintenance. Maybe that's what the word is. But then the way it ended, there's no resolution. So you're like, God damn it. But again, like you said, it's not supposed to be happy. And, a lot of authors will tell you, that's for you to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I don't really understand. Like, I didn't even really put any thought into thinking past the ending, but I'm like, why the hell? Why would Michael stay there and wait for her? I guess, I don't know.
How long is he waiting?
Right.
He's not even a thought for her. I guarantee that. She's like doing experiments and having weird mutated non-human sex things going on.
And I think he thinks that she's playing the long game and was like, don't worry, I'm gonna beat him, just give it time.
Up to the very end, she said that. And she may actually believe that. Well, I think she believed that when she said that to him, but that's not the case anymore. For sure.
Well, maybe he thinks too that she does care because she left the house to him. He's like, obviously I'm here for a reason still. Like, she knows I'm alive. Maybe she's gonna come back for me once she's done with Lasher.
Yeah.
Well, he knows about the 13, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. If something happens to the house, that the whole plan is dead, right? So, which is always my problem with ghost stories, because it's burned down the house, no ghost.
Again, I think it depends on like what we think the ghosts are tied to. Because I think Allie could have been right, and then they could have, if they're tied to the dolls, they could have removed the dolls, and then they're wherever they are.
Okay, well, for simplicity's sake, let's just say they're tied to the house. So what's the best way to protect the house? Give it to someone who loves the house. Because she's going to have to come back at some point and do her thing at the house to get these people back through. So leave it to him, pretty much guarantees it'll be there.
Yeah.
So I can't say even that's altruistic. And even if she was like, oh yeah, you can have the house, and she didn't want nothing to do with it, who cares? That's like a drop in the bucket for kind of stuff that wealth that she has also. So here, just take the house. Have a nice life here. It's like,
I kind of feel like regardless of whatever her intentions are, like, what the hell is wrong with him?
Yeah, why is he in that house? Well, I mean, it was the dream house for him. He always imagined living in that house. I don't know.
Okay, but you don't think things have like changed a little? Like, there's not some bad memories that may have taken place there?
I was going to say, I guess
think, but
things have definitely changed. But hey, that's the kind of person he is. I don't think I'd stay in that house.
Hell no. Aside from the bad history, like, there are definitely ghosts there. I don't care what he says.
Does that matter if you can't see him anymore?
Can they still mess with you if you can't see him?
No. I don't know. Probably, I guess.
It seems like
I don't feel like there was any ghost messing with him other than Lasher. Like, you didn't really see any of the ghosts in the house.
Had a question about Stella, because he said he saw Stella on the wedding day. So was that a warning?
And what was that? They never talked about what he saw. What did he see? Did he see her with like a fucking hole in her head and blood gushing out? Like, because whatever it was bad. It was disturbing.
Yeah, it's scary. Well, I mean, seeing a ghost is disturbing no matter what, but
I mean, yes and no. It could be.
Well, like, he had seen her before because he saw her with the Arthur Langtry vision, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he knew what she looked like. So if he saw her suddenly, like, it could have startled him either way.
I mean, he definitely called it her party. So,
But I do think she probably, like, that was what I thought, is she appeared and like was like with her head shot out, like, go away, you know, stay back.
Tell you will, but what I tell you will have been shaped by what I have been taught through the questions of others. It's a construct. If you want a new construct, ask. Okay. I'm not really sure I follow that. So everything he knows how to say is because they've taught him how to say it. When did you begin? I don't know. He actually answered that question because there was no nothing there. Suzanne. So where did Suzanne? I guess from? Oh, that's a question for the next book. Why did she call him Lasher? Like, what? Didn't we find out that meant something in some other language?
What? Say it again.
Lasher. Didn't that mean something in a different language?
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably. Well, wait. Who named it? Didn't Suzanne? No, Deborah.
Suzanne first called him Lasher. That's the part I'm reading. She's like, "Who first called you Lasher?" Suzanne. Did you love her? I love Suzanne. She still exists. She is gone. Okay. There's no physical necessity in your world, and consequently, no time. I'm not sure that you can say that. There's no physical. Well, I can't really wrap my head around that because I have physical necessity. So, the realm in which I exist, there is no bottom. Well, there's no anything if you have no physical form, right? There's no top, bottom, side, middle.
Which part are you on?
Her talking to Lasher. For me, I'm on 851, which is let me find a chapter. There's the one.
What?
It's just like the chapter that would never end. So.
Oh, you said good. Yeah.
So 42, section 40, chapter 42. About 883, about 22 pages for me before 43 is where I'm at. He's trying to understand him. I like how he goes, laughter, blah, blah, blah. He's like, why'd you say laughter? Like, because I can't laugh, but it was funny. Like,
Yeah, that part made me laugh. I was like, wait, what happened?
I'm thinking about doing that. I might just walk around and somebody says something like laughter.
Laughter. Joy.
Yeah. Funny, not funny. Right, laughter, crying.
Sobbing frantically.
Right. Very, very pissed off at them. So in your realm you have no need of a name. No understanding even of a name. But you have once. You want to be human. Why? Wouldn't you want to be human if you were me? I don't know. I can see his point where he's existing outside of the world and can barely interact with it, but really wants to be able to interact more. But can't he just go back where he was and not worry about any of that shit?
Right. Well, I think that's where it's like he's clearly manipulating her, because it's like, how either like, yeah, I'm sure you do want to feel what we feel, but clearly that's not what you're for. So like, you don't get to. I'm sorry. Like, either you had a life once and now it's over, or you are not supposed to be alive.
I don't think we figured that out, right?
I was trying to find that passage because I swear he said that, but then I got distracted and I forgot.
Thought I was under the impression that he was never a person, because he kept saying he'd have a body. And she's like, but not, you wouldn't be human. He's like, well, no, but close. He's like, oh, he says better than human. And she says it again, but not human. He's like, well, no.
But that is to my point of where it's like him having a body doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have the same vulnerabilities as a body. It just could mean that he now has a physical form to use his power through.
That's what he thinks. I'm not convinced. I think if I stab you in the heart, you might have a problem.
Yeah, well, what do you know? You sound like Rowan now.
Well, yeah, and that she could kill him at any time now, right?
If she had the will to, which it seems like she doesn't.
He's assuming he's going to be able to control her. Like, at what point does she decide, oh my God, I fucked over Michael so bad? This guy. She even says it at after she's under his spell. She's like, I hate you, get away from me or something. And he doesn't do it. He just like keeps kissing her, and she's like, oh, okay, well, or we can do that. But so I don't think it would take much for her to, flip back and decide, Lasher is bad and he needs to die. But he can read her thoughts, so that makes it tricky. What did he say about Carlotta coaching Lionel? She made it all
She
like
tricked him.
healthy thoughts, and that tricked him because he never saw the warning coming, because she made it out like it was such a good thing.
Yeah, she was able to convince Lionel that it was something that he needed to do because he loved her and to save her, and not because anything was wrong. So like he didn't.
Yeah, so Lionel was all love while he was shooting her, because he was he said what he was doing. Lasher was talking to Arthur Langtry or something, or he was doing something somewhere else.
Well, that was when
He said he can't be in two places at once, which I thought was weird because he's kind of everywhere at once.
Oh, he must have. I just put that together. He must have been the one who, remember, because Arthur got distracted right before Stella got shot.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think he said. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I think he mentioned Arthur.
He says like.
Arthur.
I remember Arthur saying like somebody, maybe, I don't know if he's talking about the actual ghost itself. It's like something rushed at him and was like, don't go. I don't remember what he said. It like stopped him from going somewhere, and then all of a sudden he saw Stella, and then seconds later Stella was shot.
Am I the doorway? You are. Am I the 13th witch? You are. Then Michael was correct. Michael is seldom ever wrong. Michael sees clearly. Okay.
Lasher said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that, because Michael's clearly wrong.
I mean, about what? Oh, you mean at the end?
Well, no, at the end he's just defending the love of his life. In that these are good beings and their mission for him is filled with goodness. So like, no, they just want him to knock her up. They want something else, something more, and I'm not sure what that is. But the only thing I know they want is for him to hook up with Roman.
I'm not convinced that they're bad, though.
No, but they're not good. They have an agenda to fulfill, and it's up to, I guess, us to decide whether that's good or bad.
Meaning that, like, their purpose is to stop Lasher. That's what I'm saying.
We're back in that circle, because I don't.
That's why I'm saying. I cannot say I know for a fact that like they have a bad agenda, because I don't know that.
Their agenda is to get back to be Lasher, basically. So,
it is to stop Lasher.
It depends on what's real and what's not.
What?
I feel like it depends on what's real and what's not, because we as a reader never find that out.
I mean, if they stop Lasher, they don't get saved, right?
They may not want to be saved. They're probably that was what I said before. It's about
they
them.
They said 100 times how they wanted to be saved.
Who said that?
They're all, maybe not the witches. The witches. They want to be saved. They want to come through. They want to.
I mean, that was part of the story.
No, that was part of the conversation where they were arguing over who was going next.
Right, but if that was a construct of it, I get what Amber's saying. I get that, like, if the vision that Michael had at the beginning where he was supposed to stop Rowan from having a baby is the real witches, then they were trying to stop Lasher. If the vision at the end was the real witches, then they weren't. They're trying to come through, but it depends
Right.
on what Lasher is influencing, which we don't know.
I never thought about that. Was it Lasher that he saw in the vision and not Deborah and Julie? Because Lasher was definitely there when he drowned. Whether he made him drown or he was aware of the situation, he manipulated it. So was it?
Well, that's not what we're saying. It's just like either it was. Well, I guess it is.
Did they?
No.
So in the first vision, they said stop her. I don't remember that. Is that?
So the first
We never
vision,
really knew what they said.
the first vision, I think we can say was definitely them. What we don't know was whether they were saying stop her or help her.
I was under the impression it was help her, but that most of that comes from him. I guess I don't actually know.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't know.
I don't know why I would assume they flip flopped. I guess is what I would say.
Well, no, his impression is that they wanted him to stop her.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, no, his impression was that they wanted him to help her
Help Rowan?
defeat Lasher.
Oh, well, okay, right. I meant help stop Rowan from letting Lasher come through, is what I meant.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. But he never could really remember what they said.
Right.
That
Which was,
also kind of goes back to the very first question Rowan asked, or one of the very first, where she was like, how do you know that they're good?
right.
she's been asking that from the beginning.
Yeah.
And he says, he's Michael. So he's like, I just know. Just don't ask me shit like that.
But we still don't know.
Yeah.
He says, I can't, because I can't consider the possibility of anything else or something like that. Because if they're bad, then that changes everything.
Well, and that's the same line of thinking he resolves to in the end. He's like, I have to believe that the vision at the end was made up by Lasher because I can't believe that they would have sent me there to actually bring themselves through and they were just selfish.
Ghost being selfish, who could imagine?
The fusion between your knowledge of life and your innate power is the key what enables you to do the. Yeah, I thought that was interesting because Julian could have done it, but he didn't have the medical knowledge. Like, it didn't exist yet. But
yeah.
like, why couldn't Lasher give it to him? Because there's no time for him, so he exists at all times. So why couldn't he say, "Oh, you got to do this"?
Well, also though, considering what Rowan had to do to give up to give him a body, but Julian doesn't have the physical capability to do that.
Yeah, but Mary Beth did.
Yeah, but he wasn't saying Mary Beth could have done this. He said Julian could have, but he didn't have the knowledge.
Right. Well, all she would have done is have the kid or get pregnant. I mean, Julian probably would have done the rest. I guess. I don't know. That's the way I assume. So maybe, I don't know. Pick a female one. Why didn't Mary Beth do it? Like, why didn't he tell them how to do it instead of having to wait until they could figure it out? Basically, he's telling Rowan he had to wait till medical science caught up. Like, assuming she's not the first one that can kill people, but she's the first one that can manipulate matter and combine that with the knowledge of how to use that to let him live. But he couldn't give her that knowledge. He had to wait till it was acquired. So I guess my point is I don't trust him at all. I think 90% of what he came out of his mouth in those 50 pages was just bullshit.
Lies.
Yeah. Did you kill Arthur Lantry? Not necessary. He was dying. What he saw hastened his death. What did he see?
Stella died?
Is that what he's talking about? Did he see? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he was there, but I don't know. Actually, follow it. 'Cause he was a distraction, right? I was defeated by simultaneity because I was acting in time. Interesting way to put it. So when he's him, he is everywhere, but when he's making himself visible, he's stuck to that location. And like, sounds like he's trapped by the physical laws of the big movie. So yeah, while I appeared to Langtree, the shots were fired into the brain of Stella and brought instant death. I see far, but I cannot see all the surprise. Carlotta misled me. She schooled Lionel into what he was to think as he took the gun and fired at Snow. I was not alerted by hatred or malice. I paid no attention to the love thoughts of Lionel. It's a neat trick. I'd like to see a Carlotta book. So, and then, yeah, this whole conversation with him, I'm just like, you're so bullshit.
It's kind of interesting that he does say that I paid no attention to the love thoughts when that's how he was manipulating people. Like using love and saying, oh, you're the one for me, you're my beauty, you're the only one that I can be with. But
he says love is the source of his pain.
Yeah.
Love is the source of my pain. It is the source of all my moving in time and ambition and plans. All my desires spring from love. You know, you could say that about a lot of people. Most people, right? Love mutated me. It created my first dissatisfaction. I like that line. I don't know that that's true. Well, yeah. I mean, you could even relate that to food. I think my first dissatisfaction when I was like 5 and they didn't give me ice cream I wanted. It was still love, but okay, so I mean, I don't know. I guess we're good at this point, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, we covered most of it. We're 2 hours in, so we'll call it good. But go on. Anytime someone speaks French, I'm like, oh, that's Julian. Like, that's a quick giveaway.
That was what I said too when they said French accent. I was like, what? Julian can't be out there. What's going on?
And then after Lasher's warn, she's like, that's it. Don't think about it. Just look at me and walk. And it says, for 1 second, as she found herself in a doorway, she was conscious of his keyhole shape and the old discussions of his significance and all the misery and beauty of her life passed before her eyes, all her struggles and her former battles. What does that mean for 1 second she was in the doorway? He is the doorway. But I wasn't real sure what that meant.
When was that?
Right before the last 2 paragraphs before 52. He's just been born and he's trying to figure out his limbs.
Oh.
And she's like, that's it. Don't think about it. Just look at me and walk. And then for 1 second, she found herself in the doorway. Even what I wrote down, I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know.
He thinks he lost her forever. I failed. I didn't stop him. I lost her forever. Which is funny. That's what he says. Wait. Hold on. I think in the same paragraph. Oh no, 52. So 52 goes back to Michael. He says,
oh, you're talking. Oh, I just realized. So she's talking about the actual doorway of the house.
Oh. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought she was talking more mystical there.
No,
I forget
well,
that there's an actual physical doorway at the cemetery. There's an actual physical keyhole doorway at the house, and then
house.
there's the doorway she's a figurative doorway. There's a lot of doorways. Indeed, man. Oh, Antha talked. She told Michael they were all saved.
Yeah, a part of me was like, "Oh, honey, not you too."
Yeah.
I would like to know more about Antha. Yeah, I mean, is she like a Colorado casualty? I mean, I guess she is. There's no doubt about that. Like Deborah, she tells Michael, think back to the first round. Jeez. How many people do you have to say that to? The fire that killed your father was no accident. That's interesting. So that was Lasher way back then, manipulating things?
Yeah, which... Why did he
So-
say that again?
Well, killing his dad made them move to California, which is where he met Rowan 30 years later. Oh yeah, and he said he was old enough to be her mother's friend. I didn't realize there was like a huge age difference there.
Oh, they talked about it at the beginning. But, like, it's not...
Yeah.
I mean...
I feel like it's not like a weird age difference, but
Just
a
enough to-
significant one.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of starts with divisions and kind of ends with divisions. Huh? Just a little more detail. And Deborah's
like
talking to him, and he says it's all Lasher's lies. And then the end is kind of sad. The last line, it's like, "Come home, Rowan. I'm waiting." Oh, poor fool. And if you don't know, the last paragraph, that quote, it looks like some kind of poem. I don't know if that's from anything, or is it just him rambling? But Anne Rice's husband was a published poet, so I'm wondering if that's like a snippet of his stuff that she put in the end there. Her capacity for goodness is as fine as the silken breeze coming from the south.
I was just so angry reading this whole part because I'm like, I know it's about to end, and I'm like, shut up. Shut up. No, this is not the end.
You're right. There are 2 more books.
It was the end when I read it. Just imagine. I was like, fuck, you kidding me? But then, I was like, okay. But now I think it's one of my top 5 favorites. So, any final thoughts? What'd you think of the book?
Overall, I think I liked it. I definitely think I talked about this with Allie too, but I think because of there being like, a third of it basically or more is just the file, reading it in these broken up sections made some of it a little harder to get through as opposed to just like reading it all in one fell swoop and then getting to the action again.
Yeah, I think you struggled at least the first half of it.
Yeah. And honestly, that's what happened the first time, is it kind of lost me when I started reading it.
Yeah, well, I mean, are you glad you stuck it out, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to know what was going to happen with the story. And there's a part of me that is like, I would be interested to read it again just because knowing all that we know now and seeing if there's more blanks you can fill in.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing book. Because I guess take the ending out of it because it doesn't stick. Because there's another book, they don't really have to get that mad about it at this point. But the detail, the characters, the scenery, like, I feel like I just spent a month in New Orleans. Like I feel like I could go down there and like find my way around just based on what she told me.
I also, I mean, like Stephen King is really good at storytelling and describing things, but there are some scenes where it's like almost uncanny how she's able to write that way, where I'm like, I am watching it play out in my head, like there's no question about it, like she's so good at that.
She is. it's on. Yeah, it's a lot like him with the like what do we call it? Like the movie reel playing while I'm reading. Like I can see
Yep.
what they're doing.
With some classic horror scenes where I'm like, oh, that's so good. Like that hits right. Like I like that.
Ooh, yeah. Like when you're reading and you have that visceral reaction of like, oh god, like I have to put the book down for a second because I need to get this image out of my mind. Like that's good storytelling.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole Lasher being born, that was pretty cool.
I'm not gonna lie, that scene was giving me parallels to, well, maybe I should talk about it, but the Mordred scene too.
Oh, you think? I didn't even think about that.
I mean, it's not the same, but just, hero birthing a child sort of, or fathering, shall we say.
Oh, Mordred. All right, Allie, what do you think?
I mean, definitely sort of dissatisfied with the ending, not in the fact that like it was bad. I was just disappointed in her. But overall it was interesting. I think if we hadn't been reading it for the podcast, I may not have finished it, and I think I would have been upset with myself for not finishing it. But it definitely, like, the file part was a struggle for me to get through.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I like the history stuff, so I didn't. I think the file was very, very. Yeah, it may have been a little harder to get through, and there was points of it where I was like, okay, next. So this person did this. Let's move on to the next person. Like, but the perspective it gives you, I think, is important for the book.
It is, yeah, and I get why it's there, but yeah.
Like the parts with Peter and stuff like that were definitely a lot more entertaining. It's just like once you get into the whole family and like now they have these children and they have this many brothers and sisters and they own this property and they have this and they're and it's like, okay, cool, great, awesome.
Yeah,
that doesn't exist.
Yep.
Yeah, Peter.
Well, they even say parts of like, oh, and this cousin had this asset and they moved to France. We don't ever really hear from them or see them again. They're not important to the story, but you're still going to know about them. But why?
Peter, I think, was the only part that was first person. So that was my favorite part. Like, I still like that guy. I want to see the Peter book.
Yeah, like the first person aspects of it are great.
Who was it? Wasn't it? How did we find out about Arthur? Was that first person?
No, I think that was
Actually, yes, it was.
Because he didn't die that night, so he probably. I think
Because
he wrote the letter afterward.
Oh, Arthur wrote some letters back in case he didn't make it.
And that was when it started getting interesting again for me.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, I mean, because it's more of a story than reciting facts, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's The Wishing Hour. One of my top 5 books. So.
It definitely gave me an appreciation for Anne Rice and her talent.
This is, like I said, The Vampire was the first one I read, and that was cool. But this is the one that was like, whoa, I got to read some Anne Rice. This shit's crazy. Or not crazy, but this shit, I loved it. But
yeah.
I loved every minute of it. Now she has some misses and she has some hits, so I'll say that. This definitely a hit. Like, her style, she has many different styles. Like, she has one called The Wolf Gift, and, you can figure out what that means. And that's a first person wolf. Yeah. The Wolf Gift. The sequel is The Wolves of Midwinter, so it's not hard to figure out what that's about. But like, that's a first person book, and it's very erratic and almost like that disconnected style. It's just like, this is happening, and then oh no, now we're over here and this happened, and then I'm going back there, and then I'm just going to bed. Like, enough of this. So it's a lot of that, but I also get it because I don't think I'm spoiling anything. But this is a guy that just became a werewolf, so he's trying to absorb everything that's going on. So his brain's all over the place.
Yeah.
So
It's almost like what do they call that? Stream of consciousness.
yeah. It's almost like someone with like super ADD, like almost all through that book. Like, oh, what's that? What's this? Ooh, shit! Piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. So, yep. I guess that's the end of that. So,
All right.
all right. End the podcast. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.